Hi, I'm Cathy Rowe, the new host of Aging Insights. As we grow older, we might have a need for assistive technology. Join us as we discover the range of assistive technology that's available to help you live and age well. Welcome to Aging Insights. I'm Dr. Cathy Rowe, the new Executive Director of New Jersey Advocacy for Aging Well and the host of Aging Insights. My guest today is Mike Marotta, the Director of the Richard West Assistive Technology Advocacy Center of Disability Rights, New Jersey. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Cathy. Thanks for having me.
Can we start by telling us about your organization?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So as you mentioned in that incredibly long title of where I am and what I do, I am the director of the Assistive Technology Advocacy Center at Disability Rights New Jersey. We are the New Jersey federally funded Assistive Technology Act program. So money comes down from the federal government, and each state and territory has a program that is statewide or territory-wide, I guess, and designed to provide support to residents across that state with disabilities or residents that are aging, anyone who needs support with technology tools to help them be more independent. And so that is really kind of the core of what we do. And I know as we talk more, we'll get into some more of the details of what we do, but very exciting. What I always like to lead with when I talk about our agency is the services we provide to residents are free. I feel like that's a good place to start.
Very important. Thank you. So when we talk about technology, people often jump to the newest version of iPhone. But as you point out, there's a range of assistive technology, and it doesn't have to be high tech. What are some examples you can give us?
Yeah, there is so many. I think that's kind of one of the misnomers about our field of assistive technology is people instantly associate assistive technology with an iPad or a smartphone or a computer or something like that. And assistive technology could be as simple as a Post-it note or an index card. It's any device, whether low tech or high tech, that helps you be more independent. So if you approach assistive technology from that standpoint, it could literally be anything. In the context of us talking today, it's this video platform that we're on is the assistive technology in order for us to communicate, or else we wouldn't have been able to do this. And so it's just about looking at that and framing it differently. A new pen, a larger pad, something like that. Anything can be assistive tech.
So Mike, you were a presenter at NJAAW's recent annual conference, and you commented that learning how to use a new cell phone or a tablet isn't easy or intuitive for people, especially older adults, and they would tend to give up on technology. So how do you suggest that people introduce themselves or their older loved ones to technology? And how do they find the right piece of technology that matches their needs?
Yeah, I think that's really kind of the key right here, right? And we've all had these experiences with technology, a technology tool that you get, and I'm sure we've all been there. You open the box and you realize there's not nearly the depth of instructions as you might have wanted. And then there's that moment of panic, like, oh no, what do I do now? And so we always talk about this idea of technology that's intuitive, technology that ultimately meets a need. And so when I think about this idea of finding a way to get the right technology into people's hands, it always starts with that need. And it kind of goes back to our first discussion of that, having a need for technology is different than wanting the newest thing. I could want a lot of new things, but do I need them? Now, my wife would tell you I don't need them. I'm a tech person, so I would say I do need them, but we forget about that for a second. The idea of really identifying where a person's at and the issues they are having that they are looking for some support and some additional independence through technology, and then finding a way to look at those tools that meet their needs. And kind of like we said before, it could be low tech or it could be high tech. And sometimes I think people get almost a little disappointed when you recommend a low tech tool to people because they're like, oh, well, I thought I'd get an iPad, or I thought I'd get something a little more fancy. And my comment to them sometimes is that, well, you didn't really need fancy right now. This is kind of what you needed. And so when you think about that, to keep people from abandoning their technology, that's really what we're talking about here, is people getting things and then not using them, right? And ultimately people don't use them because the technology they got wasn't aligned with their needs. That's typically why people don't use it. And so when we start looking at helping people identify tools that work for them, that's where we start. It's questions. What do you need? What are you having difficulty with now? What would you like to be able to do? I love that question for people, because it really gets to the core of what we're talking about with the tech is, what would you like to do? If you could do anything, forget about what technology is out there. And I think sometimes with technology, people get afraid that they don't know everything that's out there. And I always like to remind people, I don't know everything that's out there either. It's okay. I don't know that any of us know everything that's out there, but instead focus on what you do know, which is what you want. And then identify through that kind of the features of the tool or the technology that will help you. And so when I think about introducing technology to older adults and thinking about the approach to take, it is about this, it's very task specific. And I think about that, just from people, even in my own life, talking to parents and in-laws. And sure, I could sit you down and Cathy, I'm telling you, I could tell you every ridiculously obscure feature of your smartphone. But ultimately, do you want to know all that? No. You might just want to know how to make a call. Right. That's it. Great. Well, then let's do that. And I think a better approach to technology is meeting people where they are, addressing that need that they have identified. And then once they're comfortable there, layering in additional things. Like, I don't know how many times I've said to people, yeah, that's so cool that it does that. Did you know it does this also? And I think because they've gotten a certain level of comfort, they're more likely to accept that next step in their technology.
Those are really, really good points. So I had heard you speak before about doing device demonstrations. Can you tell us what happens in a device demonstration when they can be done in person?
Yeah, right. And you're so right. I think now we're getting to a point that we're starting to talk about doing these in person and looking at a mechanism to do that. But a device demonstration, which is one of the core services of our center, is really about that process I just mentioned. It's about talking to people, identifying their needs, and then us as the technology specialists being able to show them devices that would meet their needs. And so ideally, I'm listening and gathering information from the customer, the consumer, the resident, whatever we want to call the person that we're working with. And I'm speaking with them and trying to get a sense of what it is they're looking for. And then using the understanding of technology, showing them tools that have those features that might meet their needs. And ideally, a device demonstration is about giving the person enough information to make a decision of what to do next. Do I buy something? Do I continue to explore? Do I maybe have something? Some of my most favorite demonstrations are when you talk to someone and you get them to kind of shift their thinking a little bit, and they realize they have something already in their house that they can use to do that. And then we don't have to buy anything else because it's maybe something we're not using effectively.
Great. Those are really good points. So, it's in the last year, we saw a significant increase in technology use and connections under COVID. Do you think these virtual interactions are here to stay? Do you think that people are going to continue to use technology the same?
Well, I hope so. Right? I spend a lot of time talking at conferences and talking with people about this. And, and there's this kind of pervasive, we've gotten through the last year and, that was just horrible. And I agree, it was horrible. But there were moments that you could call your silver lining moments that things happened. I could point to any number of people who a year ago would never have got on a Zoom meeting with me. And now I could call that person today and say, hey, you want to Zoom? And they're like, sure, send me the link, and they're ready to go. So what I think we've seen as a society is that we have all developed some technology skills. It was partly out of necessity, but I would like to hope those continue in some kind of flexible next wave of using technology. Because when we talked about this idea of being in person with people, I like being in person with people. That's why I get into this field, is to work with people on things. So I do like that. And so I am kind of itching for that, but I can recognize the value of these virtual connections that technology has afforded us for people that are not able to get out, or people that can't get out a lot. Maybe they can get out to certain things, but not to everything they'd like to. And now you're starting to see, through the use of technology, this ability for people to remotely participate at a deeper level than they could before. And I would hope that stays, because I think that is very powerful for community building, for independence, and opportunities. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we keep the good points of this, and we keep moving forward, and hopefully help people connect and use technology in ways that will keep them connected, and we grow from there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. I love when someone says, can I FaceTime you? And then I think about, this is not a person I would expect to say, could I FaceTime you? And that's exciting. Right. I think that's great. I like to use my mother-in-law as a great example of this, because she did not want a smartphone. And my wife and I got a new smartphone, and we had our old ones. And we had a conversation with her like, hey, if you had a smartphone, and again, trying to think about the need, if you had a smartphone, you could connect all the grandkids. They could text you, and you could FaceTime with them, and we could all see each other, and you could participate, and you could listen to music through your phone, right through the internet. It's like magic. And slowly but surely, she started to realize how important that is to her. And then asks more questions like, oh, what else can my phone do? And can I do this on my phone? And I think it's a really exciting progression we're seeing with people.
Good. I'm glad she figured out how to use it.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been a huge failure as a tech person if I couldn't get her comfortable using it, right?
So how can people find out more about your organization and how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so our organization, we are statewide again, and we are housed at Disability Rights New Jersey. We can come to you. So as long as you're a New Jersey resident, we can provide supports to you free of charge. I feel like I wanted to drop that free of charge in one more time. And so we have many ways you can get in touch with us. And there's also a couple different things we do that I think could be really valuable to your listeners as they go forward. One is the demonstrations that I mentioned. So if you're kind of at an impasse and you say, well, I think I need something, but I don't know what that something is, that's a device demonstration. And we can connect with you either in person or virtually to have some conversation and to do some trials of technology. We also have a technology lending center. And that's kind of the next step, where someone says, I think I know what I want. I want this device X, whatever that is, but I don't want to buy it yet. And we've all been there, where we've bought something we thought would make sense. And then about 3 days later, you realize that's not the right thing for me. I need to return that. Our lending center.
They can do a test drive.
Exactly. It is a try before you buy. And that is a service we provide free of charge to people across New Jersey. There is no fee for that. We have a lending center that has an array of technology in it. And within the lending center, if you see something you would like, we will ship it to you and give you a label to ship it back to us. So there is zero charge for you, which is exciting. We used to have people pay a membership fee to kind of cover the cost of mailing, but we've just tried to reallocate the way we look at our lending center so we don't have to do that. The one key there is you have to be in New Jersey.
Okay.
That's it. I have to draw the line somewhere, and apparently that's the line. But that makes perfect sense. So you can try it for 3 weeks at a time and see if it works. Our lending center people can help you set it up and make sure you're all ready to go. And then you try it.
You had said before we were talking about the range of technology. So can you just tell us some of the things that are in that lending center?
Yeah, that lending center has so much stuff in it. Everything from laptops and iPads. Because a lot of times it's not just about getting an iPad or even a laptop, it's about a program to put on it or an app to put on it, right? Sometimes the platform itself, the device, is not as critical as, oh, I saw this app I really want to try, but I don't want to buy it. So we have a library of apps that then when we talk to you, we will load those apps on that specific device or give you the device that has those apps on it. And then you can try that. So everything from iPads and laptops to Amazon Alexas, Alexa shows, the ones with the screens on them, to even low-tech tools with activities of daily living supports, adapted silverware, adapted houseware items, anything you might think of across that range that you just want to get in your hands first before you go forward. Because really, even though our field, a lot of our devices have come down in price. I mean, if we had had this conversation 10 years ago, we'd be talking about devices that are $10,000. And now we're talking about some devices that are $200.
Wow,
so
what a difference.
The price has come down considerably. But still, who wants to spend $200 if it's not right? Nobody.
Right.
So I think it still has value in that sense for any of these things. And what's great is that if you go to our lending center, which we partner with Advancing Opportunities for this, and they provide the bulk of our loans, you can view every device in the lending center right on their website. So you can see pictures of it, you can get a short description, and then you can request to borrow it. And
that's a great idea.
It's great. It's really good for people to have kind of, when they have a general idea, like, I wish I could get adapted weighted silverware, but I don't even know what that's called.
Right.
So they can go on there and look it up under a search term of weighted silverware and then see all the options that are there to try. So that's really nice. It's a good way to kind of help people at least start to get a sense of what might work for them as they go forward. And so our lending center, that is really one of our most popular services that we provide. I will give a warning that if it's something that is new, you may end up on a short waiting list. There's always that balance with a lending center of making sure you have enough things, but you don't have too many things that they sit on a shelf. As the director of the center, I'm very aware of, in my mind, a lending center should have almost nothing there because it should be out. It should be out in the community. So when I see things, I'm like, oh, well, obviously we didn't get that right. But there's a good support there, a good amount of stuff there. And then our third service that we do is device reutilization. So this is about taking equipment that lives in the community somewhere. So when I say this to people, I say to them, think about your garage, your basement, your attic, and your closet. Are there things there that you feel bad throwing out, but you don't need anymore? I'll use my own house for an example. My kids are now in their 20s, but they did sports all through school. And we had multiple crutches and boots and all kinds of things from various injuries. Now, you never throw that out, but at some point you're like, well, why am I keeping 4 walking boots?
Right.
So what we do is we have a mechanism, and we partner with Goodwill Home Medical, which is down in Camden County. We partner with them, and people can donate that equipment to them, and they refurbish it, clean it up, make sure it's all in working order, replace parts if they need to, and then they put it back out there in the community for a significantly reduced rate. Okay. So that if you need equipment, and one of the greatest things I see when I go there, and their warehouse is huge, one of the greatest things is things like walkers, crutches, canes, and bath equipment, bath chairs, and toilet safety rails, those kinds of things, where if you buy them, they could be $100, something like that. They might have them there completely refurbished and cleaned and sterilized for $10. And it's just the idea of getting these things out of the hiding holes they are in your house and get it back to the community. Because sometimes people don't have a funding mechanism to go and purchase $100 bath chair, yet they need $100 bath chair. They need that in order to be independent.
And they might only need it for a short while they're recovering.
Exactly. So it could be yes, it could be some kind of temporary disability. Or what we also see a lot is people who have family members coming to visit who need those supports. And they're like, well, they're not going to come on a plane with a bath chair, but we need a bath chair. And so they get one, they use it. And we've had many people in that service who have gone and picked up a bath chair, used it for the 2 weeks that they need it, and then return it and just donate it right back. I'm like, here, now let somebody else use it. And I like this kind of idea of things finding a second and a third life.
Well, as a former skier who had a few accidents, I had a lot of those things and donated them. Some of the local health departments collect that and have it available to residents. If anybody would like to talk or learn about how to set up a lending center locally, you can reach out to us at office@njaaw.org, and we'd love to talk to you about how to bring in one to your community.
Awesome. That's great.
So, Mike, is there anything else that we've missed or you'd like to share with us? You are clearly a technology lover, and I really appreciate that you've pointed out the range of technology. It's not all the newest, most expensive, latest version of something high tech, but there's a full range that can help people age well and stay in their home. Is there anything that we've missed?
I'm trying to think if we've said a lot, so I'm not sure. But I think what I'll leave people with is that before you go to buy something new, take an inventory of what you have and ask yourself, am I using this effectively? Am I using all of the features of this device? One of the things that this is one of my soapbox moments, so I didn't think I thought I would kind of swallow it down, but I'm going to do it anyway. I am a big believer of your phone. If you have a smartphone, it has built-in accessibility features to allow you to customize the experience for you. I'm always amazed at how few people know that. And it is right there in their own device. And I have people that call the center all the time, myself and our assistive technology specialists talk to, that say things like, oh, if I only had a magnifier, I would be set. And then our question is, well, do you have a smartphone? Of course, I have the newest iPhone. Great. In the iPhone is a magnifier. It's part of your phone. You don't even have to put anything in it, because sometimes people will say, well, I don't have that app. And this is one of those moments we can say, well, yeah, you do, because it's part of your phone. And thinking about magnifiers, having your phone or your tablet read aloud to you, right? All of that, adjusting the size of fonts, thinking about all of those ways you can customize your own technology to be more of a support for you. I think there's this balance we always walk, and you're right. I am a tech person and I love tech. But what I love more is the right tech. I don't like having tech just for the sake of having more, because just like everybody else, I don't want to carry 4 different things. But if I could get my one thing to do 4 things that I need, great. And so I think it's about using your tools effectively. And we do a lot of that at the center. We do a lot of webinars. So if you go to our website at at4nj.org, you'll see we have a link to our YouTube channel, which we do a lot of webinars on how to use technology. We've been doing series of webinars, kind of like technology tools for older adults. And we did a 5-part series of different ways to look at technology to provide some support. And just thinking about how you could use that. And I realize there's a balance here of people not wanting to be on the computer much more than they have to anymore, because we're on the computer. But I would say to you, find a moment. That luckily our webinars are pretty short. They're usually 25 to 30 minutes, somewhere around there. So they're kind of shorter just for that whole reason of just kind of giving you a quick snapshot of things. But I would say that is, before buying more stuff, think about what you have and take inventory.
Okay, thank you. Really good advice. So we're going to have that website that Mike talked about up for everybody to see. And we encourage you to check it out, watch the YouTube videos. Mike, I just want to thank you so much for coming back. I know we just asked you at our conference last month, and we will probably reaching out to you again. Thank you for sharing. This is really helpful, and we hope that people check out your website, the YouTube tutorials, and really learn more about the technology that they have and what's out there for them.
Awesome. Thanks, Cathy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. This has been Aging Insights, brought to you by New Jersey Advocates for Aging Well, our sponsors and supporters like you. For more information, please join us on our website, njaaw.org, where you can watch this and previous episodes of Aging Insights.